Recording is on.
Yeah, you
Go
can
on,
only
Bob.
be
Do you want to just?
topic if you recognise that we have no agency, isn't it? Or if you can only be so misanthropic rather that if you recognise that we, or if you think, sorry, let me start again. If you think that we have agency, then you can be a misanthrope. But if you recognise that we probably don't have agency and there's probably no such thing as free will, then you can only hate human beings so much, can't you? Because we, there's not really.
Yeah, but you see, they're both symptoms of being insufficiently aware. It is that we neither have agency nor we don't have it. In a situation where you actually are aware of and know that you are not different from the rest of creation, you don't need free will or agency, because what you will and what you want to do is exactly the same as what everything else is already doing anyway. And so your will is in alignment with everything else. It's not a, we tend to use the word will as imposition on other things that we wish to influence the course of events for those things. But if you're sort of in the flow of existence and not standing on the bank of it, the way the water's going is the way you're going as well. So you don't, in a sense, will is that sort of way of looking at it is becomes superfluous. You only need that if you're separate, and this is where I think we have to address this next step of human evolution, which is what we're on the cusp of at the moment. Is are we going to become the next level of awareness where we understand our intimate connection with her, not just understand it, but actually be in this intimate connection with everything? Or are we going to continue to construct things called civilization, which are basically a separate living entity that then dictates back to us and the world, and nobody really has control over that? It's got its own agenda. I mean, it's more that the creations that we make are the things that are running amok, rather than the actual human beings themselves. We set up a system called civilization, and not even the human beings can control it. It's the Moloch that's now taken on an independent life. So that's not the creation we want to be feeding. Our next big creation needs to be our shift of consciousness, not our shift to even more intense forms of civilization. Sorry, I suppose I sounded thumping a pulpit here.
I think that's great. But you see, I think that the trap of self-loathing and human bashing is the same. It's coming from the exact same place.
It's the alien cortex. Yeah, same place.
Yeah,
That's right.
and what we're doing to the world around us. So that's why I cannot subscribe at all to this sort of. I really like the fact of our uniqueness, and I think that's something I strongly feel, as I feel every flower in my meadow is unique in its species, and everyone has a role to play. The big mystery of the human beings is still to come, probably around the corner, as you said, Gary. We still haven't got there, and we're far away from there. But I would not subscribe to this. We're just a parasite. Let's get rid of all humans, and everything will be fine. This sort of discourse is at the root of a lot of collapsed people at the moment. It's a shortcut. It's an intellectual shortcut and an emotional shortcut, but it's also a dead end, and I don't like it. I don't like it not for me, because I've got my own views, but I don't like it for the people going down that road, because it's a suicidal type of reasoning.
Yeah.
When you know.
Yeah, so I left a comment on the last meeting to sort of emphasize where I was going last time, but it's also from Freddie Perlman's book. He goes over 3 stances on this. One is basically apathy, like who gives a shit, and then the other is the guilt path, being ashamed, wishing we were something else. And then he suggests the third path, which is the trapped animal, because we're trapped in a cage, right? And so you don't feel guilt, but it's like you can still wild yourself to an extent in your cage, and I think that's a worthwhile thing to do instead of sort of whipping yourself for all of history, which um, I mean, you have to feel, the sadness of where we are, of course. Like you can't be detached from that. Like it's inevitable. I feel like anybody who's gotten here, like Derek Jensen and stuff, you've probably cried a river of
We've lost you, DB.
GB, we can't hear you.
Yeah, it says a connection lost.
Oh, okay, right. I just maybe we should finish up soon. It was just had a thought regarding what I think it was Bob might have said about how to, or and probably Torstein too, remarking about how, like how do we know the consciousness of animals or insects or anything like that? And I suppose in a very scientific way, we probably never can be sure and prove this conclusively what the nature of the consciousness of animals or insects or other living things might be. But I think there's a sense in which we can intuit that, and that we're fairly sensitive to it. And uh, if you want to think of it, like just these people here now on this meeting are all here because without intimately knowing a person called Lord Hugh, they all became very strongly convinced of a certain kind of consciousness that he had, and the importance of it. And there's no way that we could ever prove that or demonstrate it or sell it to somebody else who was skeptical on the basis of some rational argument, or we just could, but we just know it. No, no, have this insight into the consciousness of another being. And I think that's what we have to rely on when we're thinking about animals' consciousness and the kind of levels of consciousness that human beings are capable of. Is that I think if a person's being very genuine, that you have to accept that the view that we're capable of greater depth of and levels of consciousness than animals are. It's just something we've got to accept as true, and proceed from there. I mean, there's times when in a lot of discussions where you come to that point where everybody's getting rather exasperated, and you say, "Look, I can't prove it, but we just have to take this as self-evidently true," and uh, otherwise you can't sort of continue the discourse. You've just got to sort of accept that some things are never going to be able to be adequately demonstrated, uh, uh, and uh, and just accept, the assertion that's being made. So yeah, just that's just that point I wanted to tack on there. Should we wind this up now? I think we've been going for a long time. It's
Sure.
a feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there is one more thing I could probably say that's good. A couple months back, I saw it really, like, sometimes I get thrown these random YouTube videos and I watch them. So there's this couple in this boat and they were filming on their phone, and there's this eagle, this juvenile eagle, probably born that year, like stuck in the water. And they fished the eagle out with a stick, put him on their boat, rowed him to the shore, fed him some fish, and then, left him on his merry way. And I thought that was like, that's like peak human compassion right there. Because I don't think any other animal could have fished an eagle out of the water and rowed him back to, the shore and gave him some food and set him up for success again. So that right there, that kind of compassion, that's like, yeah, that's just, I mean,
Oh,
I'm not, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but even your little story the other day about rescuing the spider from somebody who wanted to squash the spider, was that your story at work or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. Well, there's a few
Yeah.
of them there, a few people there. It's wrote stuff
Yeah.
down that they did. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's the thing. Um.
yeah.
All
There's
right.
just no words for that. That's just beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing, I mean, I don't mean to sound in any grandiose way, but we are gods, and it's about time we realised it, but not in the way of some nutter who's standing in the street proclaiming that he's, the second coming of Jesus or something, but you know, uh, that
yeah.
that
That
we're
itself. Oh, go ahead.
no, it's okay. I wasn't sure how to finish it anyway.
Oh,
Go on.
yeah. I mean, that itself is, another one of those things where, you know, humanity realizes its consciousness is God instead of
Mm,
trying to be God by being immortal in the physical realm by,
mm.
destroying the planet. So realizing that, and, um, and just, you know, realizing we are instead of trying to be, I think is also, another one of those things you gotta, um, or one of those things that got us here. Yeah.
Actually, that's really well put. Yeah, thanks. So that's a very helpful way to think about it. Yeah, um, yeah, because I think that relates to a lot of at a lower level. Uh, this some of the discourse that Hugh was having about transhumanism and also transgender as well, where people are trying to transform and not realizing that it's a spiritual transformation they want, and instead substituting a lesser transformation. Um, and it's kind of a parallel there to what you were saying, in realizing that we are God instead of trying to behave like gods and control everything like God. To realize that if we knew we were God, we wouldn't feel that urge to be managing everything. Uh, to be, I think the telltale sign of the era is if there's a lot of effort and energy going into influencing things, because my impression is that God, creation is like effortless. That it occurs. It doesn't require all this sort of stress and focus and tension and all these things that human beings engage in order to create in their own little way. Um,
Yeah.
but
Creation's
yeah,
more like a kid playing. Like that's how I sort of see it. It's sort of like play and innocence. Yeah.
mm, yeah. No, what you said there earlier was brilliant. That was really great. We are instead of trying to. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah, that I think I got that from I mean not that exact idea, but I thought of it because a long time ago when I used to play video games, I played this game where you literally have to fight a war god that's trying to destroy the world. And
Mm,
the war god's whole thing is building machines, and he's literally trying to like kill these elemental dragons and absorb their power so he can become the most powerful of all the gods. And so what you have to do to beat him is you have to team up with like the nature dragon and with her defeat him. Yeah, so I sort of thought
mm,
about that, and
mm.
I think like that war god in that video game was like a perfect representation of our civilization, just trying to burn everything and destroy it and become the most powerful god.
Yeah. Yeah. Because of course the whole thing about trying and putting effort is all alien cortex control stuff. You know, if we just let go of it. Um, yeah. Is this a good place to end now that we've just sort of? Is there anybody else got anything they want to add before we pass some kind of a record for the length of the meeting?
Oh no, I must go out and bring my dog out. So he's waiting. So I'm going to.
Mm.
Yeah.
We'll get the 6-hour mark eventually. Just kidding.
Oh.
Oh dear. Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, Mark and Sophie and I started 3 hours ago, so
Yes.
we had a head start. Um,
But you see, the
mm,
meetings get better, and the second part, I mean, the first hour is nearly just a warm up, or kind of we're getting to see what we're interested in, we're connecting, we're sort of searching our interests, and then things start coming out, and then we get really going. And now, look, it's 3 hours, and that's when it's enriching. So isn't that great? You know, it doesn't
well,
matter the time.
what
It's
we
not the
maybe
clock.
just maybe once a year we should set up a meeting with the intention that it will go all day
Or
and come
24
prepared.
hours. And somebody can,
Yeah.
we can sleep on turns, like on a boat, you know, you can take kind of watches, and, you know,
Well, yeah. No, I was thinking of like, making sure that you've got your sandwiches packed, and several cups of coffee ready to just to get, and and then just let the meeting go until everybody drops dead and just see what comes of it.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Oh, another thing we could probably do is like, I don't know, stream a movie once in a while. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, one thing that might be good, uh, another idea is to pick a particularly interesting YouTube discussion and just go through it a bit at a time and pause it and discuss and then play a little bit and then and come back to it. I'm thinking in particular of that one, the discussion, the Ted Kaczynski one that was just posted recently, because there were just so many fascinating things in that one. Kaczynski, Elul, and the Future of Anti-Tech Radicalism, which is on YouTube channel Hermetics Podcast, 2nd of the 2nd, 22. Anyway, that's on the Reddit. But
Oh, that was on the okay,
uh,
yeah. If that was on the Reddit, I
yeah,
listened to that one. It was pretty good.
yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But a video like that is one where we could listen to a little bit of it and then pause it and really go into part of it and then just start it again and we probably need someone's permission to use their video like that. I'm not sure.
That's a really good
But
idea. But you remember, I don't know who on this call was there, but the first Danse Macabre, as we call it, was at the beginning of the lockdown, I think. And there was somebody, I can't remember who's it, Lady Ella, decided to have a party called Dance
That's right.
Macabre,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
all
She
met.
invent. Yeah.
Yeah, there was Hugh, and there was you, me. I can't remember who else. Was you there, GB? I'm not sure. And there was another woman. I'm not sure who was there. And we all
Oh, that
dressed
was.
up, and we had wine, and we put on music,
Yeah.
and we had a
Yeah.
party online because we were all like, it was the beginning of the lockdown, and I don't know, we had a few hours. We were just laughing and drinking and listening to music. It was very funny. Of course, it was not recorded at the time, but it was the first Danse Macabre thing that we started. I don't know, was it on Jitsi or was it on Zoom at the time? But that was a while ago,
I
long time ago.
remember that. Yeah, I think I was there.
Yeah, I think you were there. I
Yeah.
think you were there. We all dressed up as the theme was death. You know, it was like I don't know. We were just
Well, this is where, I mean, Lady Ella's bequest to us was the name, I think. It was, she came up with the name, or Hugh and her came up with the name. I mean, it was a pity because she really shot herself in the foot. You know, she could have still been part of the group, but she was going to insist on her particular ideology, and it just became ridiculous in the end.
yeah.
Yeah,
but it was a good evening though. It was because we were
Oh,
just
yeah.
we didn't talk about anything serious. We're playing silly music and just, you know, drinking. And yeah.
Oh, this is reminding me a little bit of, I want to recommend a movie if anyone can see this movie. It's called Cloud Atlas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've
that
seen
movie.
it.
Yeah.
That movie is really good. Basically, it's about like resistance against oppression through, all these stages of time. I don't want to spoil the movie, but my interpretation in the end, it has a lot to do with what he was going for in his arc. But yeah, the whole nowhere and elsewhere, I kind of
Yeah.
interpreted it that way.
It's
But
an old movie, isn't it? I've seen it years
yeah, it's
ago.
3 hours. It's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Very long. Okay. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, there's a book too, but I don't. The book is better than the movie, obviously, but I don't want to recommend it because it's 600 pages.
Oh God. Oh well. Yeah. Okay. Well, if nobody else is going, I've got to go. I'm so
I
tired.
think we should, yeah, because otherwise it's going to cut off again, and we're going to have to, because it's in a few minutes. It's going to be the 3 hours.
All right.
So is Mike going to pair up Nama Iti?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Okay, let's pause for a moment. All right. And to end it, Om Paramane Nama Iti. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
I'll
Mike.
stop the recording.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Gary.